Love is grand and divorce is fucking 50 grand. And nowhere is this more apparent than the $15 million literal shit show of Johnny Depp and Amber Heard. Yes, Amber Heard, the living embodiment of the overly attached girlfriend meme, bane of bedsheets the world over, utterly forgettable addition to an utterly forgettable Aquaman film. Fuck you fanboys, that movie sucked. She done been BTFO'd in court.
Mr. Depp's claim against Ms. Heard. 1. As to the statement appearing in the online op-ed entitled, Amber Heard, I spoke up against sexual violence and faced our culture's wrath. That has to change. Do you find that Mr. Depp has proven all the elements of defamation? Answer, yes.
The Amber Heard defense force has been hard at work ever since. The Depp Heard trial was an orgy of misogyny, crowed Moira Donegan of The Guardian. UK lawyer with a chronic case of blue check, Max Kennerly, said, I'm not big on celebrity culture and I didn't follow the Heard Depp trial in the UK, and I just want to thank Johnny Depp for not giving up until everyone, including me, knew that he was an abusive asshole. Job well done. Whoa there, Maxi Pad. Do you kiss your wife's boyfriend with that mouth? Why, they even broke out old Anita Sarkeesian and Adam Muffballs to say, the wide-scale celebration and joy of a survivor being gaslit is horrifying. If a rich white woman can't even be believed, what about all the BIPOC, queer, disabled folks, working-class folks, and other marginalized survivors supposed to feel sick? Who the fuck is supposed to believe us? Hashtag believe all liars. Strong words indeed, coming from one of the many traumatized survivors of Gamergate. Hey, if a burglar breaks into my house, gets gut shot, and somehow survives the consequences of his own paint-stripping stupidity, do I call him a survivor or a lucky fucking cunt? Amber Heard went to the Washington Post with her defamatory fucking yarn, and it benefited her career, at least for a micro-minute. And her apparent indifference to any allegations of abuse on her part can't have helped her much in this case. Look, you know you're ankle deep in the ninth concentric circle of optics inferno when the phrase, I wasn't punching you, I was hitting you, actually escapes your fucking face hole. Isn't that a bit like Putin telling Ukraine, I wasn't invading you, I was attacking you? But the baby mama drama doesn't interest me here. Look, celebrities bore the bejesus out of me, doubly so when it's two people I don't even fucking like. I'd barely even heard of Heard before this bullshit, and Johnny Depp, he's a bigger overactor than Jim Carrey on bath salts. Pretty good band he has going with Alice Cooper, though, admittedly. The Hollywood Vampires are so good, they gave their guitarist a goddamn heart attack. I'm infinitely more interested in why this captivated the public consciousness, such that mass shootings in Buffalo and fucking Texas, collapsing infrastructure, and a president gibbering and babbling his way through Alzheimer's Awareness Month, true story, could scarcely tear them away from their television sets long enough to fork over a single fuck. And really, I think it comes down to cultural zeitgeist. Scheitgeist, if you will. Sure, the lurid corn kernel bespeckled details of a celluloid Disney princess pinching a poo on her husband's down comforter likely caused more than a few heads to turn to witness the 5-car crash to come. But what kept people glued to their sets harder than Steven Seagal's Count Dracula toupee was what it conveyed about the nature of our society and institutions. Namely, that for nigh on 8 decades of intensifying feminist fuckery, women went from being portrayed as put-upon homemakers to flag-waving suffragettes, and finally to office equals. And every step of the way, the court system almost invariably favored their fucking assent, often in opposition or outright abrogation of the prevailing electoral will of the time period. Whatever advancements spun out of the world wars for women, whether in practice or propaganda, the courts backed their play. Prominent court decisions such as Phillips versus Marietta, Reed versus Reed, and Cleveland versus LaFleur demonstrate this fucking emphatically and established a long-standing precedent, particularly in custody and marital disputes, of favoring the fucking female. custody disputes today favor women 68 to 88% of the time, and fathers just 8 to 14%, with equal custody achieved in just 2 to 6% of all custody cases. There's a reason why when a husband and wife split the house, the husband takes the outside. And it ain't only America that reflects this, but all of Western society, including Europe, where I'd remind you, the first rounds of the Heard-Depp dogfight were waged to begin with. As mass shootings are en vogue at present, you may wish to recall the case of Anders Breivik, who carried out one of the deadliest shootings in world history at a summer camp in Tyrifjorden. Yes, I know I probably mangled that word harder than Pelosi's plastic surgeon, but fuck you and your goofy elf language, Norway! While the breathless coverage of his pseudo-Nazi leanings and proclivity for plagiarizing the Unabomber manifesto festooned frantic media headlines for fucking months, few wish to examine the man's personal history, which, to put it bluntly, had more red flags than Mark Kelly's ape hangers. His father, a prominent economist in Norway no less, had sued for custody of his kid for fucking years after hearing credible reports that Breivik's mother was a walking fucking pharmacy, had wished death on a 4-year-old Anders Breivik, and may or may not have been diddling her own son. In spite of overwhelming evidence and repeated attempts to remove Breivik from that home, Norwegian courts, as in America, erred on the side of the mother by default, and so he was reared in an emotionally and perhaps sexually abusive household until he inevitably erupted, which was the media's cue, of course, to blame black metal and fucking fascism. Why do I mention all this? Because this feminine court bias is old enough to join Judas Priest at this point, and if you don't think women have caught on to their home court advantage by now, fuck, did you watch this fucking trial? Amber Heard's own words illustrated far more articulately than I ever could.
I had a jar of mineral spirits thrown at my nose.
You can please tell people that it was a fair fight and see what the jury and judge think. Tell the world, Johnny. Tell them Johnny Depp. Johnny Depp, man, I'm a victim too of domestic violence, and yes. It's a fair fight. And see how many people believe or side with you.
Between this and Amber's histrionic personality disorder diagnosis, which is essentially just BPD with added egotism, you can see the tornado of tism that was fixing to touch down here from the beginning. But before you go blaming Johnny Depp for dunking his dipstick in uncut black tar batshit, understand how BPD and HPD actually work. A sufferer of these disorders doesn't swing in on a chandelier and announce their abject bloomers on head barking insanity to all the world. It starts off quite normal. In fact, it's much the opposite. They adore their partner to the point of outright worship, and they may do so for fucking months on end. And then the coin fucking flips, and Harvey Dent turns into Two-Face, and all that obsessive energy devoted to the object of their ardor is instead reverse engineered into a Category 5 shitstorm of such screaming intensity even the maid is not safe from the fecal funnel cloud. Worse still, they play the put-upon victim to their next partner, which plays to the wounded bird appeal that immediately engorges the genitalia of all too many aspiring white knights, and so the cycle revolves anew. The Heard-Depp drama is a case study in the perils of pickling your prick in crazy. Because before long, you're forced to appeal to an objective, neutral authority that never fucking is, and rocking coloring books in the courtroom just to deal with the crippling stress of it all. But be careful not to judge the man too harshly, folks, because for all of Johnny Depp's errors, giving second, third, and fourth fucking chances to someone who is only escalating in their irrational behavior, unless you've spent time in the eye of the shitstorm, you can never truly understand how isolating it can truly feel. And as much hate as this will likely accrue, I also feel for Amber Heard. Histrionic personality disorder and its big brother BPD is a living, breathing hell for the person diagnosed as well. Look up the symptoms sometime if you're skeptical. Essentially, all happiness, all emotion is effectively counterfeit. The sufferer is incapable of emoting normally, and so they imitate and approximate genuine feelings. The Obama approach, if you will. They absorb them vicariously through their all-too-intense interpersonal relationships. Relationships which are inevitably undermined and imploded by the very disorder that spawned them to begin with. It's no fucking fun, folks. Doubly so when the details of your compulsions are broadcast for all public consumption. The woman doesn't need hate. She needs help, and I sincerely hope she gets it. Couple that with an entitlement generation who, through permissive parenting and a media that insists on unironically using phrases like, speak your truth, all but encourages these disorders to fester in perpetuity, all of which have resulted in a generation that are humble and proud of it. Human beings are not automatons, at least outside of Twitter, and really, in the initial stages of a breakup, who doesn't miss their ex? At least until your aim improves. I'm Razor Fist. God fucking speed.
Thanks. Oops, I crapped my pants.